Okay, there we go. So welcome everybody. It's so exciting to have all of you on here for this special edition of our Me and Yvette's Reset program. So we've been working on this because people were asking us and how to get healthy, because we are both pharmacists and we pursue wellness. And this is a basic entry level functional medicines program in order to lay down the basic foundations. So we really want you to set aside everything that you've learned in the past, because we all had to relearn everything that we did. But we are going to start off session. This first session is a little bit of mindset, motivation, and then we also have some things, a pantry session. What is in your pantry? That is sometimes shocking, and Miss Yvette is going to handle that one. But first, I'm going to share my screen here. And we prepared a few slides just as introductory. So give me just one quick moment. Do that. Here we go. Okay. So here, welcome to Reset with Johan and Yvette. And firstly, to introduce ourselves, my name is Johan Bekes. I'm a pharmacist probably for the past 31 years, 32 years right now, and also functional medicines practitioner. I am a husband to my wife of 21 years, and I'm a father of 4 children. The youngest being 12 years old. Then I have a 15, a 17, and a 19-year-old. And they make sure to keep me young. So over to you, Yvette.
Well, welcome everybody. And it is so wonderful to have you here and exciting to tell you a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me. Same as Johan, I'm a pharmacist, functional medicine practitioner. I've been a pharmacist for over 33 years now, been married for 31 years, mother of 3 children. And as you can hear, Johan and I have very distinctive accents. We come from the South, but it is actually South Africa, just for those of you who do not know. And in our years of practice as pharmacists, both of us pursued a career where we wanted to help people. And for that reason, this leads on to how we got started with Reset. So shockingly enough, I wasn't always slim and trim. I was, and then I moved to America, and the American food hit me, and the American lifestyle hit me. And as you can see, there's a lady on the left-hand side. She does not resemble me very much these days. That was approximately 8 years ago. Very unhappy, very unhealthy, did not sleep well. But the most of all was that people didn't realize I was hurting. My joints were hurting. My back was constantly sore. When I got up in the morning, my husband had to help me to shuffle from my bed to the bathroom because my feet hurt so badly. Very few people realize that, knew that, because in life, you know, especially where we were brought up, we were told to just knuckle up, you know, pull up your socks, you know, and just do your thing, just go through it. And I started looking at certain different avenues of why am I eating and doing the stuff that I've always done and I'm not getting any better. I remember a friend visiting here once and said to Tony, you know, she must be eating on the sly because why is she so heavy? And I was nearly to the point of starvation, and purely because I did not understand what was really healthy. So I started a journey of low carb, which has eventually led on to only eating meat and protein. But the big thing that I have learned in my years of struggling was I had to retrain my brain on the things that I had known, everything that I was taught, because I did everything that I was taught. I followed every guideline, I followed every book, yet I felt like crap. And I don't care what anybody says, You know when you are overweight, you know when you are unhealthy, you know when you're not feeling well. But the worst part ever is to be hopeless. And I became hopeless. There was no way out. Nothing made any sense. Then Tony and I started down a walk of learning and reading about what makes us really fat. That is when the aha moment happened in our lives. Our lives turned around like you cannot believe. The person on the right, I am waking up every day. I get out of bed, I jump out of bed, my feet don't hurt. I actually gave a testimony not too long ago. It's been about 3 months now that I can walk without shoes. So, ladies, the healing process is slow. Be aware of that. And it's not something that just happens overnight. But being able to wake up, feel well, do things, be active, wanting to be active, that really is incredible. And I must say, probably one of the biggest things and achievements that I feel is I felt a sense of hope and a sense of achievement, where previously everything I did, I was defeated. And this is the point where I have to tell you, I went to Weight Watchers about 15 years ago, and they eventually, after 2 weeks, gave me my money back because the lady said, we have no idea how to help you. So when Weight Watchers gives you your money back, you are literally at the bottom of the barrel. So enough about that. We are now living a life of health, happiness, sleeping well, doing exercise, wanting to do it, not doing exercise because I was told that that's how I'm going to lose weight. That was not the answer. So, Johan, give us a little bit of a share on where you came from.
Okay. Well, this is a picture of me, my before and after. And when I became a pharmacist, and I still to this day, I love being a pharmacist. We were always taught about how the body works and how medications can alter certain things in your body. And I've always stamped myself as a pharmacist who sell medications to other people. I don't take them myself. And the reason being, I know exactly what these drugs do to your body, all the nutrient deficiencies it causes, all the hormones it affects, all these things. I knew about that. And as I started to get older, I did not take care of myself. And I found myself at a point where I have 3 small children with a fourth on the way, bending over to tie my shoelaces, getting back up, and being extremely winded. I was so tired from just fastening my shoelaces. And at that point, I had to look myself in the mirror and decide, is this what my life has become? And is this how it is going to end? Since I decided that I'm not somebody who wants to get on prescription medications because I see what it's doing to our population, I decided to go do research. So 10 years ago, I started a journey to read and research everything I possibly can, more so to help myself. And what I found out was, in the practice of functional medicine, I had to unlearn a lot of things that I've been taught in pharmacy school. The same things that our doctors, pharmacists, and specialists in this country are being taught today, that is just blatantly not always the truth. So I took a turn and I practiced functional medicine. I changed what I'm eating. I changed what I'm drinking. I changed the way I exercise. That fat guy in the yellow shirt, believe it or not, he would do 2 hours of cardio exercise every day. Blood pressure remained high. Allergies remained out of control. stomach acid and reflux was just out of control, kept me up at night. But flip the switch, start to do things differently, because what I've been taught as a pharmacist obviously is not working. So when I started to do almost kind of the opposite of what I've been taught, I lost the weight. The reflux went away in 2 weeks. Blood pressure is just not only normal, it is sometimes, if I measure it, it can be below normal. Also, though I still don't have any side effects from it, but it completely changed my life. And everything that me and Yvette did in order to change our lives is what we're teaching in Reset. And this is really just the beginning of the rest of the journey. So you guys, if you stick with us, you will learn a lot of things. So I just want to go on to the next slide here. This slide says nothing can stop a made-up mind. If you want to lose weight, if you want to get healthy, if you want to get rid of aches and pains, it all starts with a decision. And if you make that decision today that you are going to change a few things going forward, nothing can stop you. But it all starts with a decision. Once you made that decision, commit to the decision. So people who are usually successful in programs like these are the people who show up in the Zoom meetings. And if you're in a different time zone that you cannot make it, at least watch the recording after each session. We will send out a recording. Be open-minded. I can't stress that enough, because we have been taught from childhood that certain things are healthy, others don't mind. And we are going to teach you that things that we thought are healthy are really not that healthy after all, like oatmeal, not a real healthy food. So be open-minded to what we're teaching, and be decisive. Look at the things that we present. Once you make a decision that you're going to follow what we taught, try it out. Make the decision to at least try it out. Don't just throw it away. Play full out. There is something that I want to mention in playing full out. Playing full out is be present in the meetings. Go in the chat. Look at the chat feature, the messages, react to it, post your own, communicate with each other and with us, so we can know that everybody is present and taking care of ourselves. There is a story that I heard about the 97% versus 3%, and this is all about what explains why 3% of people usually attains all the success that 97% of people in the same program don't. Because there's 97% of people always blame. They have somebody or someone to blame. If it's not their parents, it's the government. There are the 97% of people also complain if there is a task ahead, like we will talk about fasting. If you have to go without food for 8 or 12 hours or whatever the case is, there will be a complaint. I cannot do this. Why is it so hard? Then excuses and justifications. If we say you have to eat real food and you have to try and buy certain things organic, there's always the excuse. Oh, it is too expensive. Oh, I can't exercise today. I've got children. And some of these excuses might sound to yourself very valid. That there's a valid excuse. I work all day. I cannot go walk around the block for another 30 minutes. Sounds valid. But here we go with the 3%. 3% of people, instead of blaming, they accept full responsibility for where they're at. They see each obstacle as a challenge. If there's a challenge of doing intermittent fasting of a 12-hour or a 16-hour fast, they see that as a challenge. Instead of complaining about how are they going to do it, they say they figure out a way of doing it. Commit to the end result. The end result, if you're going to stick with reset, let me tell you about the end result of reset. One of our members who went through reset stuck with reset. And we always, me and Yvette will always tell you that our goal is health. Losing weight is a side effect. So this person, apart from losing weight, her diabetes marker, the A1C, went from a 9.3 down to just below a 7 to a 6.9. Just by practicing what we teach in Reset. So that is my story. So Yvette is going to tell us all about your pantry. So over to you, Yvette.
Thank you, Johan. And again, you know, I want to say that lady, that was in 1 month. So for people that say, well, that's not a major change in A1C, that was in 1 month. And we have another lady that in our reset group, she lost 24 pounds. And it was unbelievable. Her answers to me was, I wasn't really trying to lose weight, I'm trying to get healthy. So again, losing the weight is a side effect of getting healthy. Your body is holding on to fat, hormonal things we will still discuss, but there's a whole lot of things that you have to start with before you can address all those issues. And funny enough, one of the most important places this is going to start in is in your pantry. Most people do not read labels. And let me start off first by saying this. If your food has a label on it, then you really shouldn't eat it. You should be eating food in the proper human form, the way that God made it. If a piece of steak doesn't have a, yeah, they can put a nutritional value little label on it, the butchery. But in actual fact, it doesn't tell you the ingredients there and where it was made and stuff like that, because it was made in a cow. So it's very important that when you start cleaning out the pantry, are the first few things to do. And I remember doing this many years ago. I took one of those big Costco boxes. I went into my pantry, and every single thing that had the resemblance of a high fructose corn syrup, maize syrup, glucose syrup, fruit syrup, they disguise these names in many clever ways. The companies are very, like sneaky with trying to come up with new names. As soon as we get used to the one name, there's another one that pops up. But if there is names on there of things like all the different fruit sugars and crystalline and things like that, you should not be eating food like that. Put that in the box. When things have artificial sweeteners. So it is a known fact that aspartame is a neurotoxin. Yes, the FDA states it's totally fine for us. We can eat that. In other countries in Europe, they ban those things. Why should you have it in your pantry? So aspartame, sucralose, that's the Splenda. Splenda destroys your gut bacteria. You don't want that in there. Saccharin, the old-fashioned sweet and low and things like that. Throw that out. Get rid of it. We will talk more on sweeteners. What I do want to say, for a lot of people, when you tell them to remove everything, they're like, oh, I'm going to freak out because I want a little bit of sweetness. If you want to include something in there, do the erythritol, do the allulose, do the splendors. You can gradually, slowly, as you get away from the sweet taste addiction, we can scale those out. But again, these things take time. But these poisons that I mentioned, please don't have them in your pantry. Then one of the most important things is if a product says fat-free, throw it away. Because if it says fat-free, that means they had to add a whole lot of junk so that you can even eat that. We have been brainwashed in telling people, oh, make sure it's fat-free, make sure it's low fat. If you eat yogurt that is fat-free, it is disgusting. If you eat full fat yogurt with nothing added, it is creamy, it is wonderful, it's in its natural state. But as soon as we start messing with the way that things were made, then you start adding a whole lot of additives. And majority of the time in a fat-free product, lo and behold, I can take a bet, the sugar content is high. When we look at the different sugars that are in there, don't be fooled by, oh, it's only got fructose in it, it's only got galactose in it, it's only got maltose in it, it's only got, don't be fooled by the different names of sugars. Sugars, they are a toxin. We do explain later in our reset what exactly sugars are and what your body does, and you can only have a small amount of that. And most Americans have probably about 10 to 100 times more of that per day. Don't have any of the foods in your pantry with sugars on. Then one of the big culprits is the MSG, monosodium glutamate. They also have disguised that word under many different things. If it says artificial flavors or added colorants or things like that, that's usually a good guess that you should not be eating there. Monosodium glutamate is known as a neurotoxin. And for example, in our house, you cannot eat that. Tony is highly allergic to it. He eats that. Within 2-3 hours, he has a massive. If you want to know if that stuff is seriously bad, yes, they are. Then the big one that comes in are the oils. I always have people ask, when I say, make sure you eat more oil in your diet and your protein, the first thing they ask me is, okay, so can I use canola oil? And I'm like, no, canola is not a natural oil, not a human food oil. It's natural. Yes, when you touch it, it's oily. But you can also use that in a car engine. You can use it on a farm. None of us are farmers. None of us are tractors. You don't need to use the oil. Very important that you know that canola is purely produced like flaxseed. Those things were produced to use as machine oils. The oils that you want to use, and this is where a little bit of the switch in the brain comes in. You want to use butter. You want to use ghee. You want to use coconut oil. You want to use olive oil cold, not heated up. If you use olive oil, you can drizzle it over your food. It is very important to realize that the seed oils, the canola oil, soybean oil, vegetable oils, those things are extremely inflammatory. So much so that some of the fat in our body will feed off these oils, and your inflammation will not go away for as long as what you are using these seed oils. If you think, well, I've got a full bottle, I'm still first going to use it, please don't. Do yourself a big favor and just throw that in the trash. It is extremely important. Oh, and palm oil. So funny is, every time I pick up something that says, oh, this is a good, even a keto or a low carb barbecue sauce, the first product in there is soybean oil. When we buy things for our kids and we think we're going to treat them and we have a packet of chips, first thing in there is corn oil. Why do you do that to your kids? You're setting them up for failure. So be very, very aware of the oils. Throw them out. Get yourself some bacon. Get some lard. Eat some bacon fat. Your body knows exactly what to do with those. Then carrageenan, especially in dairy products. So it is also something to look out for. Some people are far more sensitive to that. So if you don't know, just toss it out. Then when it comes to cookware, these Teflon pans, these non-stick things, those things are an absolute no-no. Aluminium stuff, an absolute no-no. The best thing you can use is cast iron and stainless steel. They do not give off all the toxins and the things that your body does not know what to do with. And keep in mind, the longer you have been exposed to different of these oils, these sugars, these sweeteners, the longer it takes for your body to detox from them. It's not just taking 2 laxatives 3 times a day for a week that's going to make you poop out toxins. It's not how the body works. So be very aware that this kind of detox cleanses out stuff in your liver and in your fat cells that you have put there from the dietary choices that you have made. And this has been an old saying that many of you might be familiar with. But if you pick up the label and there is so much stuff on there and you can't even read half the stuff, that's a good enough reason to get rid of it. My ultimate saying for food is, if you have to go and buy it at a store, for example, oatmeal, that is my absolute favorite. I'm so glad Johan used it. So many people say, oh, I eat so healthy. I have oatmeal every morning. Oatmeal was designed for horses. Last time I checked, we are not horses. You can throw that away. Eat eggs. Your body knows what to do with it. Oatmeal was made in a factory. Oatmeal is an absolute processed food. Anything that you have to process so that we can eat it is not a human food. If you go and shoot an elk, you cut it up, you put the meat on the stick, you can eat it. The stuff that's in a box is not supposed to keep you healthy. And as a side note, I learned recently that Dr. Kellogg's, who was the originator with all the programs for nutrition and clinicians with food and diet, he was also responsible for Kellogg's. And Kellogg's owns a very big stakes in a lot of the pharmaceutical companies. Now, I don't think I have to connect the dots for you, but if I give you certain foods that's going to create certain illnesses, I have an extremely well recurring income in my business world. So keep that in mind when it comes to cereals and Kellogg's and things like that. You would be surprised. We can go into that topic in another day. But what I want to eat real food, buy eggs, buy meat, buy bacon, cheeses, all the stuff that needs to be kept in your fridge. You can keep your pantry. I've often said to people, you know, we have to always have something in there in case of emergency. If you want to have rice and beans in there as a backup, keep it. You never know. There could be something massive that happens. But the food that you eat on a daily basis should be stored in your fridge. And a question that always comes up, a lot of people would say, yes, but you know, is it not expensive? I must tell you, I do not remember when last I threw food out of my pantry, because I used to have a lot of vegetables and things in there. I don't have to throw anything away anymore because I don't buy them. So for those people who check the budget, this is a very good way to save money and not waste. So with that said, what I want you to go do is I want you to go into your pantry. Take the stuff out, read the labels, check on there, what is in these? Now, I'm not saying throw every single thing in there away. Maybe there's 1 or 2 canned things that you want to keep maybe for a rainy day, you know, when we have an ice age again or when hell blows over. Keep it for then. But for your day-to-day life, look at those things, take pictures. Take pictures of the labels. One of the biggest culprits is dressings, salad dressings, all these sauces. I've never seen a nation here in America that cannot make a meal without a sauce. There's got to be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Just cook the food properly and you wouldn't need it. But those sauces are highly inflammatory. So we've included the Johan at livelikejohan.com email address. Send your pictures over there. Get rid of those things. That is part of decluttering your mind, decluttering your body, and then decluttering your pantry. And if anybody has any questions or you want to find out more, if you have a question, please feel free to ask us. Johan, I'm sure we are open for any questions and answers now, specifically because this is a fairly high, how can I say, job given to you to go and get rid of stuff that you might love dearly and you think you cannot live without.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask it. But I just want to end, guys, actually do the homework. Every week we have a little assignment. And next week's assignment, we will give you a personal feedback. So for this week's assignment, it's more generalized because we can all share, you know, look what I found in my pantry. It's got all these high fructose corn syrup and all these canola oils and whatever you have it. But go and do this, because it's good sometimes for us to go and realize what we have in our pantries, what should not be there. So I just want to urge everybody to play full out and do this. Let's have some fun.
Johan, Barbara had a question in here, any particular cheese? I do need to preface this with saying some people do really not do well with cheese. I can tell you now, I have to limit my amount of cheese. To me, cheese has become kind of like a little treat. When I do eat cheese, I can feel the inflammation because I do have some scoliosis in my back, and then I can feel it there. So if you want to get cheese, the hard cheeses are the better, the stinky cheeses, the ones that are old, the real ones that smell like old socks, those are good. When you start getting these things that are melted, and the first time when I came to America and I saw, is it Velveeta? Sherry, you might say Velveeta. We were at a party and this lady was making this stuff. And I'm looking at this thinking, what in the world is this? And she's like, oh, this is a cheese dip. And I stuck my finger in there and I thought, this is a chemical dip. There's nothing good in there. So those things are not good for you. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be corrected there, part of those are different of the oils that they use to break those down and hydrogenize them. So no, none of those kind of oils. You know, the feta oils, the feta cheeses, the hard cheddar, all those stinky cheeses, I'd say those are really fine for you. But in general, as time goes by, and this is part of what Johan and I teach people in functional medicine, is to learn to listen to your body. Now, Tony can eat a ton of cheese. My husband can eat cheese every day. It does nothing to him. That doesn't mean I should eat cheese. So I want you to be able to go back. Part of the lesson here is to listen to how your body feels when you eat certain things. So when it comes to cheeses, try and limit them as little as possible, especially if you are getting healthier. And seeing that we are a lot of women on here, cheese does play a bigger role with the hormones, the progesterone, estrogen, versus with men, it does not play such a big role. Although some men have very severe digestive issues with cheese. I think, Barbara, that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. And I want you to go to the oats. So you have the Irish steel oat, cut oats, the canned English one that's been around for 1,000 years. I'm just exaggerating. What's the difference between that and the regular oats? Because I think that the steel cut oats are excellent. You know, it's hard, it takes longer to cook, etc. And it's in my pantry, so you're gonna get a picture of it.
Well, the steel cut oats, that was made for the race horses, the expensive horses.
Oh, don't say
the
that.
Other honey. Ones were made for the donkeys. It is not a human food. There is no nutritional value to it. If you want to mess up somebody's kidneys, you tell them to eat oatmeal. It is, I cannot stress for you how bad it is. There is nothing good about oatmeal.
And I have it in my emergency kit in case that there's an emergency, you know, but I don't want to get sick during that emergency.
Yep, and if we overheat, and we can all go to Barbara's house and we can have some oat. But if you truly ask yourself, and this is where honesty comes in, when you eat oatmeal, what is the part of the oatmeal that you enjoyed? I enjoyed the honey and the butter.
Yeah, it's true.
If I had no honey and butter
I
on
wouldn't
there,
eat it.
you might as well have taken a box of cardboard and poured a bit of milk on there, and I probably would have
That's
eaten
true.
the honey and the butter. So it's
Mm.
important to realize that you ask yourself, what do I really like about this?
Wow.
And the amount of people that I have dealt with kidney failure, diabetics with kidney failure, they start their day with oatmeal. And I'm shocked because, first of all, they start with the dawn phenomenon. They start with their glucose high. Then they go add another 46 to 47 grams of carbohydrates in 1 cup. I've never seen a person eat 1 cup of oatmeal. It's only this much. Most people eat 2 cups. So now you're starting your day with 100 grams of carbohydrates. Why would you want to do that? So I hope that answers. And if there's race horses close to you, you can go down. Expensive.
And if there's a starvation, go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
And added to that, the oatmeal also has a lot of phytic acid, which I see I'm the only guy here, shows it's only bad for me because it blocks your zinc absorption. And zinc for a man is extremely important. I just want to address something that Laura mentioned in the comments. Said it's kind of scary getting rid of all the groceries that contain the bad ingredients because we are brainwashed to think it is okay food. Now, ain't that the truth? That is because if there's this story where they say if you repeat a lie long enough, everybody's going to believe it. It's going to become truth for someone. And that is one of the things, and me and Yvette have discovered, and sometimes we are ridiculed for the things that we say because we discovered that those things that have been repeated for eons, everybody accepts it as truth, and it's not. There is, even in the food law, a thing called GRAS. It is called generally something accepted as safe.
Regarded as safe.
Generally regarded as safe, which means there is no studies done to see whether it's really safe or not. MSG is one of those. And there are actually other studies that show that the MSG is a severe neurotoxin. It can cause people some real serious problems. So now, because it is GRAS, generally regarded as safe, everybody preach, oh no, now it's not just safe, now it's healthy. Like some vegetables.
What I want to add on to what Johan said there, and this is where him and I can both confess our sins. We believed a lot of those lies. Yes. We believed them with everything that we were taught until we were at a situation we weren't doing any better, and we started asking questions that people didn't like us to ask. So when you get told, like Johan said, something over and over and over, and you go, well, where does that come from? One thing people always mention for me, because I don't eat any fiber, is, but fiber is important for your diet. You need 30 grams of fiber a day. And my question is, where did you learn that? Well, that's what they say. Well, who's they? Well, that's what they've proven. It's not a single study that has ever been made saying how much fiber you need. In fact, if a person goes into the hospital today with colitis, with Crohn's disease, with diverticulitis, the first thing they do is they take them off fiber. So if that doesn't tell you that we've been fed a lot of horse manure, then I don't know. So part of the reset is for you to start questioning. And I think for some of those that saw my little rant last night about food for thought is people spew things out of their mouth. They make claims and statements, and it's backed by absolutely nothing. I'm not saying you have to be a doctor. I'm not saying you have to go study anything up. But before you say something, think for yourself. Majority of the time, it's embedded in common sense. But we have grown so far away from common sense, it's not even funny. I had a 94-year-old lady I spoke to yesterday, and having trouble, lots of issues, health-related issues. And she said, I'm struggling, I'm getting weaker and weaker. And this is one of my favorites. I have oatmeal every day. I said, ma'am, why don't you have eggs every morning? She said, I haven't had eggs in 30 years and I love eggs, but I thought it was bad for me. So that breaks my heart, because there was no proof. Even when you go on the American Association, the Diabetes Society, the American Heart Association, Cardiovascular Association, they've all removed the stuff about eggs being bad for you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is common sense is absolutely essential. God gave us a mind, a brain. If something doesn't make sense, and even in this, reach out to me and Johan. The one thing him and I will do is we'll find out. We don't have all the answers, but we've learned through our mistakes.
Absolutely. And like I told one of my customers the other day, I apologized upfront saying, I'm sorry that we as a medical society have been lying to you all this time. Because he had kidney stones. And he said, well, now the doctor told him that he should stop taking his calcium supplement. So it's not your calcium supplement. It is your kale smoothie that you drink 3 times a day that's causing the kidney stones. So there's a lot of things that we've uncovered, and we would love to share that with you. And, you know, like Yvette said, if there's any questions, reach out. Even the emails that you get from Reset, from the medication reduction specialist, if you have a question, you can also, if you forgot to write down my email, just reply to that email, and we'll get back to you. So, is there anybody with any more questions? I see we're a little over the time already. No.
Nobody seems to be running away, so I think you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And please come with questions. Please come prepared. Come to join in. As you can see, Johan and I can only achieve with questions that you give us to show us and guide us where you want us to go. Many times things that we just accept as, oh, I'm sure people understand that. I'm still blown away, because there's so many people in the world that are deceived and living under the total wrong impression. So send us a message. If you need to question on the group, please do that. And if you invite anybody else to come join you in your room, please do that. Our biggest aim is to change lives. A lot of us here are parents, some are grandparents. That means you're going to have an impact not just on your life, your kids and grandkids. So our aim is to help people get better and healthier, but it all starts with training and retraining and resetting their mind. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Johan.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for being here, and do the homework. It's sometimes interesting to see what's been in that pantry that you don't even know it was there. And send those emails in. We can't wait to hear from you. And see you again next week.
Miss Sherry, thanks for all your recipes. Everybody, you can give her a hand. She's absolutely amazing.
I love the chicken having this coffee every morning. I look forward to it.
Oh, good. Thank you. Guys are so welcome.
I opened up and I said, what's she saying about this chicken? What they're going to eat? When is they going to drink milk or something? So it's the coffee. I think it's so hilarious.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.